Just 1 hour ago, Princess Anne broke her silence, and what she revealed left royal watchers stunned. In a calm but crushing statement, she confirmed that Meghan Markle's royal ties have been officially and permanently cut. No warning, no second chances. The Crown has spoken, and Anne was the one to deliver the final word. Is this a quiet exile, or something far more devastating? Anne breaks the silence. Just 1 hour ago, Princess Anne did what no other royal dared to do. She quietly confirmed the royal family's decision to end all remaining ties with Meghan Markle. It wasn't a press release. It wasn't an interview. It was a private comment made during a meeting at Clarence's house. But her words have now echoed across royal circles. The institution has done what it had to do. Calm, direct, and final. Those 13 words sealed what months of speculation had danced around. Anne's statement didn't come with fireworks. It came with weight. According to aides close to the family, she made the comment after reviewing the results of the palace's final coordination review with Meghan's team. That decision was finalized on December 9, 2025, after a week of closed-door briefings. "We've locked the door," Anne reportedly said. "There's no coming back now." Her voice wasn't bitter, but it was heavy with finality. For a woman known for discipline, those words carried authority. Inside palace walls, the moment was seen as Anne giving her blessing to the long-delayed break. She had long remained silent about Meghan's ongoing press moves, but the tone had shifted. Sources say that even King Charles nodded quietly as Anne spoke. It was no longer a matter of diplomacy, it was survival. Anne's words marked a turning point in how the monarchy would engage with rogue narratives going forward. She didn't just approve the decision, she owned it. For Meghan, the message couldn't be clearer. Whatever hope she may have held for reconciliation, Princess Anne just buried it, politely, firmly, and without public spectacle. This wasn't about emotion, it was about monarchy. And for Anne, that's all that ever mattered. With those few quiet sentences, she didn't spark a war. She ended one. And for the Duchess of Sussex, it may be the most devastating royal silence yet. But Anne's quiet confirmation didn't come out of nowhere. It followed weeks of mounting concern, and one specific warning she could no longer ignore. In early November 2025, the Princess Royal noticed troubling activity coming from across the Atlantic. The names were familiar, the patterns unmistakable. What she uncovered wasn't random media noise, it was calculated and dangerously close to sabotage. And that was when Princess Anne took her concerns directly to the king. The warning. Anne couldn't ignore. It began in the first week of November 2025, when Princess Anne noticed something strange. A wave of new reports in American media, all citing anonymous palace insiders. But the details being shared were impossible. Events twisted or entirely made up. What troubled Anne more was the source trail. The names involved had past ties to Meghan Markle's former PR firm in Los Angeles, and some had worked on her media campaigns in 2019. For Anne, that was a red flag. Anne isn't easily shaken by press noise, but this felt different. According to a senior aide, she told her team, "This isn't gossip, it's sabotage." She believed the institution was being used, weaponized, for personal narratives. Within 72 hours, she compiled a document tracing the articles, cross-referencing media appearances and known PR affiliates. When she took her findings to King Charles, she made it clear this was a coordinated strategy, not chaos, not chance. Her meeting with the king took place on November 8th, inside the White Drawing Room at Buckingham Palace. She brought with her a timeline, press analysis, and 3 articles she believed crossed serious lines. Charles reportedly listened in silence. Anne ended the presentation by saying, "This is not about defending the monarchy's image. It's about defending the monarchy's structure." Her concern wasn't for feelings, it was for survival. The institution was being tested in real time. That meeting set everything in motion. Within days, palace legal and communications teams were looped in. They began tracking online content, monitoring leaks, and building a file. For Princess Anne, it wasn't personal, it was procedural. And that's exactly why it had impact. She wasn't responding as a sister-in-law, she was responding as the Princess Royal. Her words cut through the noise, and for the first time, even skeptics inside the palace started paying attention. Anne's alarm bell didn't echo in isolation. She wasn't the only one who'd had enough. Behind the gilded doors of Buckingham Palace, a quiet alliance was forming. One that brought together Anne, William, and yes, even Queen Camilla. What they saw wasn't just a PR storm. It was a threat to the stability of the crown. And it was in the 1844 room, during a tense gathering just weeks ago, that the monarchy reached its breaking point. The moment the palace reached its limit. On the morning of November 16, 2025, the 1844 room in Buckingham Palace became the stage for one of the most consequential meetings in recent royal history. Present were Princess Anne, Prince William, and Queen Camilla, joined by senior aides, security officials, and legal advisors. The mood? Cold, focused. Anne had called the meeting to present final evidence about what she described as strategic media destabilization, all tracing back to operatives linked to Meghan's old network. Each attendee was handed a dossier, 38 pages long, outlining press patterns from 2020 through late 2025. Camilla reportedly raised an eyebrow when she saw a section labeled Disruption Days, documenting how negative press about Catherine often appeared within 24 hours of major royal engagements. William, meanwhile, remained stone-faced as Anne laid out what she called the palace's choice. We either act now or lose control of the institution's narrative forever. Anne's final recommendation was clear. No more appeasement. No more unofficial communications with Meghan's team. No back channels. The monarchy cannot keep reacting, she said. We must choose stability. William supported her fully. Camilla agreed. Even the staff in the room felt the shift. This wasn't reaction. It was resolution. And in that moment, the royal family made a decision that would ripple across the world. The meeting ended with a vote. Unofficial, but unanimous. The palace would formally end all coordination with the Duchess of Sussex. The decision would be implemented quietly, but with absolute clarity. Anne stood, nodded to the group, and said the words that would be repeated in whispers for days. Then, we're done here. The monarchy, often accused of moving too slowly, had just drawn its sharpest line in decades. And Anne had led the charge. Why Anne stepped forward now? Princess Anne has spent over 5 decades guarding the traditions of the crown without drama. So when she chose to step forward, the decision wasn't made lightly. It came after witnessing an escalation in attacks, not on herself, but on Princess Catherine. In October 2024, headlines from US-based outlets began to circulate just hours before Catherine's key royal events. At first, Anne dismissed them as coincidence. But as the pattern repeated, she saw it for what it was: deliberate. Her breaking point came after a children's charity gala in Leeds on October 18, 2024. Catherine had just delivered a widely praised speech about youth mental health. Yet, by midnight, multiple articles emerged questioning her relationship with Meghan, pulling focus from the cause. Anne was furious. She told a senior aide, "This isn't about personal friction anymore. This is using the monarchy as a stage for distraction." That moment shifted her role from observer to protector. Anne began working closely with William's office to track these attacks. Together, they outlined 6 events in 2024 that were disrupted by sudden press cycles involving Meghan or Sussex-related content. Anne personally briefed King Charles in early November, warning, "This isn't sustainable. It's reckless." She feared public trust in the monarchy would erode if the crown seemed unable or unwilling to shield its own. Her words weren't just heard, they were acted upon. For Anne, this wasn't a personal feud with Meghan. It was institutional self-defense. As the eldest working royal and daughter of Queen Elizabeth II, she carried both history and duty. Meghan's media orbit had become a destabilizing force, and the monarchy had to reclaim control of its own story. That's why Anne supported the public cutoff, not for revenge, but to protect the monarchy from being turned into clickbait theater. While Anne's alarm was growing, something else was happening behind palace doors, something far more disruptive. Whispers began to circulate about a possible holiday documentary, one centered entirely on Meghan's experience inside the royal family. And when Anne heard about it, she didn't wait. She acted. Because this time, it wasn't just a rumor. It was a calculated plan to hijack the royal season. The tipping point had arrived, and Anne was ready to push back hard. Meghan's alleged documentary. In late November 2024, just weeks before the royal family's annual Sandringham Christmas retreat, Anne received a disturbing update. A source flagged a planned documentary allegedly led by Meghan, set to air on a major U.S. streaming platform around December 23rd. The focus? Revisiting her struggles with palace life. To Anne, the timing was no accident. It was a clear attempt to dominate the royal news cycle and paint Meghan once again as a victim of monarchy cruelty. Anne reportedly referred to the project as a calculated disruption designed to hijack the season. She raised the issue with William and Queen Camilla during a strategy call on November 28, 2024, and her tone was unusually sharp. "We're not walking into another PR trap," she said. "Not again, not this year." It was then that she pushed for final action. Full, permanent severance. No more palace access. No more shared planning. No more involvement, formal or informal. The palace feared the documentary would revive accusations already addressed in interviews, memoirs, and articles from 2021 through 2023. Worse, they believed it could reignite online abuse against Catherine, who had become a frequent target during such media cycles. Anne's stance hardened. She told senior advisors, "We cannot allow this cycle to repeat every December. The institution comes first, always." Her resolve forced others to act decisively, and with urgency. By December 3rd, the palace's legal and communications teams finalized the new protocol. Zero future coordination with the Duchess of Sussex. No ambiguity, no gray area. The language was firm, and Anne personally reviewed the statement before it was circulated. Her final comment, according to palace sources, "It ends now, before this becomes our undoing." With that, the monarchy shifted from defense to offense, drawing a firm line in royal history. But even as the decision was finalized and the statement prepared, there was one thing Anne refused to do: reach out to Meghan directly. For her, the silence wasn't coldness, it was clarity. She didn't need to speak. Her role had already spoken volumes. And when the final statement was released, it bore the fingerprints of Anne's conviction. What followed next was unspoken, but it hit harder than any letter, any phone call, or any press release ever could. Unspoken, but devastating. Princess Anne never made a phone call. She never wrote a message. She didn't even ask palace officials to soften the tone. But when the official statement landed on December 6, 2024, it was clear who had helped shape it. The sentence read, "All future coordination with the Duchess of Sussex has been formally concluded." No emotion, no attack, just a clean surgical cut. It was the monarchy's coldest move in years, and it bore Anne's approval. Sources close to the palace say Anne reviewed 3 separate drafts of the final statement, pushing for a version that left no room for reinterpretation. "We gave her time," she allegedly told a senior aide. "She gave us turmoil." That line, never published publicly, became known among staff as the unofficial epitaph of the Sussex chapter. Anne had made her judgment, not in front of cameras, but within the walls of the monarchy's command center. Royal watchers were quick to notice Anne's fingerprints. Her style is known: calm, controlled, and ruthlessly precise. She didn't call Meghan a liar. She didn't label anyone a villain. But she approved the language that ensured Meghan Markle's name would never again appear in palace planning documents. She signed off on the final closure, not with bitterness, but with conviction. It was her way of protecting the future, even if it meant burning bridges. For Meghan, the silence was the loudest sound of all. There would be no olive branch, no path back, no royal road to reconciliation. The woman who once walked beside the Queen herself had made her choice. And it was devastating. Anne hadn't needed to speak. Her actions did it all. And with that, the final chapter was closed, not in scandal, but in strategy. How Anne shielded Catherine from a media crossfire. For Princess Anne, protecting the monarchy wasn't just about tradition, it was about people. And no one had come under more fire in 2024 than Princess Catherine. It didn't escape Anne's notice that media attacks on Catherine consistently peaked during her public events. One royal aide even confirmed that during 4 major appearances between September and November, tabloid storms broke just hours before Catherine took the stage. The tactic was clear: drown her voice in chaos. Anne reportedly told a member of her team, "This isn't random, it's a shadow campaign." The headlines often included rehashed grievances or unnamed insider sources linked back to the Sussex orbit. It became especially blatant on October 22nd, during Catherine's speech on early childhood development. While she addressed educational leaders in Manchester, a U.S. outlet simultaneously published exclusive insights into old family tensions. Anne had seen enough. This wasn't media, it was a smokescreen. Working alongside Prince William, Anne started documenting these coincidences with precision. They created a confidential timeline charting the overlaps: public engagements versus press attacks. Within 6 weeks, a pattern emerged. Catherine's success in royal duties was being repeatedly overshadowed by orchestrated media noise. Anne believed this undermined not only Catherine's work, but the crown itself. She told a courtier, "If Catherine can't do her job without sabotage, then none of us can." It was this concern, not personal rivalry, that fueled Anne's support for a formal severance. She wasn't reacting emotionally, she was defending royal infrastructure. Catherine, the future queen consort, had to be able to lead without being caught in a digital crossfire. Anne's involvement gave weight to the crisis, and her advocacy sent a clear message. Targeting Catherine was not just cruel, it was unacceptable. From that point on, the palace's stance hardened. But while Anne's public defense of Catherine was emerging, she was also working quietly behind the scenes. Her influence extended beyond opinions. It shaped the palace's investigative process. Anne knew that if the crown acted, it needed more than just suspicions. It needed hard evidence. And so she began arranging confidential meetings, gathering proof, and compiling every press hit that could be traced. What she helped build wasn't just a case. It was the palace's final line of defense. Inside the private meetings no one knew about. Beginning in mid-November 2024, Anne took the lead in a series of private meetings that even most senior staff weren't aware of. These took place not in large conference rooms, but in discreet offices inside St. James's Palace. Over 2 weeks, Anne gathered communication staff, security analysts, and archival researchers. Her mission: build a complete timeline of media manipulation tied to Meghan's inner circle, and show how it was systematically aimed at destabilizing the monarchy. She requested every major article from 2020 onward that featured unnamed palace insiders, especially those published during key royal milestones. Anne's team used pattern tracking software to match publication dates with royal calendars. The result? 11 major overlaps between Catherine's events and anti-royal headlines in just the last 18 months. This wasn't a coincidence. It was coordination. Anne's firm belief: if the crown didn't act on this proof, it would lose control of its own legacy. She presented her findings to King Charles on November 30th, accompanied by Prince William. The report included internal communications from former staff, social media analysis, and anonymized whistleblower accounts. Anne summarized it in one line: "If we do nothing, we invite collapse." That sentence reportedly made Charles fall silent for nearly a full minute. The monarch understood what was at stake: not just reputation, but stability. Anne's influence had turned royal worry into undeniable fact. One senior advisor later shared, "Once Anne got involved, the outcome was inevitable. Her tone was not hysterical, her methods not reactive. She treated the situation like a military operation, silent, precise, final. The monarchy needed a boundary. Anne delivered one, and as her documents were sealed in the palace archives, the final recommendation followed just days later, a royal statement that would cut the cord for good. Once the statement was made public, the palace braced for backlash. But it wasn't the public's response that struck hardest. It was the internal shift. Meghan's name disappeared from all royal correspondence. There would be no invites, no calls, no coordination. For Anne, the job was done. But the impact? Only beginning. Because for the first time in years, the monarchy had chosen finality over forgiveness. And the woman behind it all watched as Meghan's royal status faded completely. Meghan's name erased. The official palace document released on December 6, 2024, was just 47 words long, but its message shook the royal ecosystem. It read, "All future coordination with the Duchess of Sussex has been formally concluded." No titles, no clarifications, just finality. And as many insiders now confirm, Princess Anne fought for that exact wording. Her logic? clarity ends confusion. The Crown didn't want to leave the door open. It wanted the hallway bricked up. Within 24 hours, palace operations changed. Meghan's name was removed from internal rosters, formal engagement lists, and even unofficial update logs used by lower-ranking aides. A source at Kensington Palace said, "Her name vanished overnight. It was like a system update." Anne reportedly told a confidant, "We didn't attack her. We outgrew the chaos." It wasn't a power move. It was an institutional reset. The monarchy had turned the page, and Meghan wasn't in the next chapter. The move caught the attention of major global outlets. From London to Los Angeles, headlines read like obituaries for a royal relationship. But inside Clarence's house, there was no celebration, just a quiet sense of relief. Anne's only public engagement that week was a veterans' charity event in Portsmouth. When asked about the statement, she declined to comment, but her calm demeanor said enough. The storm had passed, and the decision stood. As the dust settled, staffers noted how quickly things returned to normal. Royal calendars moved forward. Catherine resumed her engagements without shadow press. And behind the scenes, Anne began focusing on future-proofing royal protocols to prevent similar breakdowns. Meghan's chapter in the royal story was closed, not with scandal, but with silence. The Crown didn't slam the door. It simply stopped opening it. That, Anne believed, was the firmest message of all. But Anne's work didn't end with silence. She understood something many underestimated. Meghan wouldn't stay quiet. A response would come, maybe a memoir, a podcast, or another viral documentary. Yet Anne wasn't worried. She had already prepared for that, too. Because her true legacy wasn't just in what she stopped, it was in what she made unshakable. As whispers of a Sussex response began to swirl, Anne stood steady. The Crown had spoken. Let the next storm come. What Princess Anne sees coming next. Princess Anne has never been one for theatrics, but she knows a storm when she sees one, and she knows another is on the horizon. Within 48 hours of the palace's December statement, rumors of a Sussex media counterattack began. Some speculated about a tell-all interview in early 2025. Others mentioned production meetings for a new documentary. But Anne wasn't shaken. She told a close aide, "Let her speak. We've said all we needed to." Insiders say Anne believes the monarchy has finally found its boundary, and it won't move again. The institution has been tested repeatedly since 2020, but the Meghan chapter revealed something vital. Clarity is more powerful than defense. Anne's decision to support a full severance wasn't about silencing Meghan. It was about reclaiming control. She reportedly said during a January strategy call, "We don't need to answer everything. We only need to stand still and be sure." While other royals might worry about headlines, Anne focuses on structure. She's reportedly drafting a new set of internal guidelines designed to prevent future media manipulation, especially involving royal children. "It won't be like this again," she allegedly told a communications officer. Her view isn't reactive, it's architectural. She wants the Crown to withstand another 50 years of scandal, not just survive the next one. Meghan's exit, in Anne's mind, was a needed renovation. And perhaps most notably, Anne has ensured that future queens, especially Princess Catherine, won't face this battle alone. Her leadership during this crisis set a new tone inside the palace, one of zero tolerance for coordinated press sabotage. Whether Meghan speaks out again or not, Anne's legacy is already written. The monarchy didn't collapse. It recalibrated. And Anne, the quiet royal with the loudest impact, made sure the crown walked out of the storm not weaker, but wiser. So there it is. Princess Anne has done what no one else would. She didn't lash out. She didn't defend. She ended it. For Meghan Markle, this marks the end of any royal return. The palace has drawn its line, and Anne made sure it won't be crossed again. What comes next? Only Meghan knows. But one thing is clear: the monarchy won't be waiting. Subscribe for more exclusive updates as this royal chapter closes for good.